It's now 5:30 in the morning. Just finished my morning mobility routine. So, welcome to the garage. This is basically my kind of gym area. You can see a climbing wall behind me, some sort of rings and climbing equipment. Mainly, I'm into climbing. But yeah, this is day one of this kind of vlog. The idea behind this vlog is that I'm going to record me trying to achieve some goals over the next 3 or 6 months. So just had a 2 week break, 2 week holiday, which was the first holiday I've had for quite a while. I tend to just work constantly every day, nonstop. I'm a bit crazy like that. But I had 2 weeks off, feel really well refreshed. But the problem was I ate loads of food, didn't do any exercise, didn't do any work, didn't get any progress on my goals. And I love goals. I love trying to see progress. And I love putting stuff out there. So during the 2 week holiday, I came up with this idea. Why don't I record some of um, the process of setting goals and then going about achieving them through sort of daily efforts and daily routines. So this is day one of that idea. Um, it's going to take me a little while to get to grips with how this works, to kind of get better at talking to the camera, get better at recording things and telling stories and taking you through the day. So bear with me. What I'm going to do today is I've just finished, it's 5:30. I've just finished my sort of morning mobility routine, feeling a bit sort of stiff. I haven't done any exercise or mobility for a few weeks. Um, then I'm going to take you with me. I'm heading next to Starbucks. I like to get there for 6 a.m. So if it's 5:30 now, um, I need to push on, get to Starbucks for 6 a.m. Other coffee shops are available. And yeah, start work at 6. Try and do about 3 hours work. Today, I'm working on some new pediatric content. So I'll be doing some pediatric topics and questions. Then I need to record the podcast version for those topics and get those sent over to Harry, who edits the podcast, makes it sound really nice. Then after that, I'm going to try and sit down and really figure out what are the goals for the next 3 or 6 months. So I'll take you through all my goal setting, what my plan is, how I'm going to execute it. And then with these videos, take you along for the ride. So next stop is to head to Starbucks. Here we are at Starbucks. We got there, it's 6:10. So I'm a little bit late. I have been trying to get to Starbucks for 6 every day. The reason I choose Starbucks, the reason I come to this one is because it's the only one nearby that opens at 6. Everywhere else opens at like 7, half 7, 8. And I'm very much a morning person. I've trained myself to be extremely uh, morning oriented. After a certain time, in the afternoon and later in the evening, I'm pretty useless. I can't really function as well. My prime time is first thing in the morning. The other thing is, I have little kids, so if I'm around in the morning, I'm going to get disturbed. I'm going to get, yeah, I'm going to just get absorbed in activities. Whereas if I get out, get all my work done in the morning, first half of the day, then I've got the afternoon more free to do other chores, get stuff done around the house and so on. So here I am at Starbucks. The plan is to sit down and basically produce a pediatric content. So I'm currently working on the second edition of the pediatrics book. Along with that, I'm creating the questions for pediatrics, which go on my Zero to Finals members site. So that's my goal for writing things. So what I'll do is sit down. I use an app called Forest, which really changed my productivity. I'll record that I'm going to do 3 hours worth of work. In fact, I do an hour and a half, and then I get a second coffee, do another hour and a half, and um, and that's 3 hours of work done. Then I can move on, go somewhere else, or go to the office after that and start recording the podcast and look at setting some goals and working out the goals with you guys. I really need a coffee. It's very early in the morning. Like I said, 10 past 6 or 12 minutes past 6 now. And I haven't had any coffee so far. So all of this video that you've seen so far today has been uncaffeinated, which means lower energy and still trying to wake up. I have found that doing the mobility routine at 5, so I get up, alarm set at 5, straight up, glass of water, just check a few sort of stats and things, and then straight into the gym and do this mobility routine. When I wake up at 5, particularly now because I've had 2 weeks off. So during those 2 weeks off, I've been very relaxed, not waking up at 5, just waking up when I get naturally woken up by a 2-year-old. And having done that for 2 weeks, I'm really out of the routine. So waking up at 5 is a bit of a struggle. But the way you train yourself to be a morning person, well, this has worked for me, I don't know if it'll work for other people, is you just start waking up at the time that you want to wake up. So I set an alarm for 5. As soon as the alarm goes off, straight out of bed. And once you do that for a few days, particularly a few weeks consistently, your body will just adjust, a bit like traveling to Australia or somewhere where the time zones completely change. You have some jet lag initially, but then your body adjusts, and then that's your new routine. It does mean I have to go to bed quite early, so I'm usually in bed by sort of like 8:30, 9 o'clock. So it's going to take me some time to adjust. This morning was a bit of a struggle because it's been so long out of the routine. But I'm hopeful that keep grinding through these days. The first week or so is the hardest, and then you get used to that routine and it just becomes normal. So as time goes on, I will get more used to this routine and adjust to it and not be as tired. But right now, I really need some caffeine. I'm going to go and get a coffee, start working on the pediatrics content, and I'll catch you in a bit. Okay, I just finished 3 hours of non-stop focused work on pediatrics. So I've been writing some pediatric topics and questions as well, and they're due to be recorded later on. So the next step is to head to the office and record the podcast for those pediatric topics that I've just written. So focusing for 3 hours, it's actually 2 1.5 hour slots, is pretty tough. Right now it's 20 to 10 in the morning. So I started work about 6:15. Did 2 1.5 hour slots, so that's 3 hours of work. That's 20 to 10. Head to the office, probably get there slightly after 10, and start recording the podcasts. And once I've done the podcast, the next step will be to look at properly putting in place the goals that I want to achieve over the next 3 to 6 months, including working more or working very consistently on putting out this podcast and bringing you along for the ride as we go through those goals. I found it can be really challenging to focus for a long period of time on writing these topics. So when you have to sit down and really focus on grinding through writing the topics, it's very easy to get bored, very easy to feel like you just want to stop and move on to something different. and it can be a struggle to stay motivated, particularly early in the morning if you're feeling tired, if you're not really in the swing of it, um, and particularly if there's a topic that you don't find that interesting. So I've used a bunch of different strategies to try and figure out a way to get myself to do the work. And one of the strategies which you've seen here is to go to a coffee shop, to a place, and particularly if there's other people there, it makes it there's a certain novelty to being in a new environment. And having other people there means that you're less likely to get sidetracked, start watching YouTube videos or, scrolling on social media, whatever it is. By being somewhere that's dedicated, you know that for that hour and a half, 3 hours, or however long it is, your goal is to get through that work. And the novelty of being in a new place, not just at home at your kitchen desk or whatever it is, um, helps to make sure that the work gets done. So that's part of my routine. I go to Starbucks every day at 6 a.m., get the work done. And now that I've got that 3 hours of blocked work done, can head off, record the podcasts, and move on to the next thing. So I'll catch you when we get to the office. So I'll see you there. So just arrived at the office, um, and the time is now 20 past 10. So the plan now is to record some of those pediatric podcasts. So I got 3 podcasts to record, which includes the content that you'll find on the website, plus the questions for that topic. So record all the podcasts in batches and then upload them so they automatically come out 3 times a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays. And that means I can record lots in advance and not have to think about it. It just goes out automatically. So I'm going to sit down, blast through these 3 podcast episodes. The way I record the podcast is I have my computer set up here, and then I've got this microphone, um, which comes across. That's attached to the computer, obviously. And then I have where are they? I've got loads of soundproofing in this office, which I'll show you at some point. The walls are covered with soundproofing. There's a curtain behind, which offers some soundproofing to try and deaden the sound and reduce the echo that you might hear on the podcasts. And then I have these, which I just put on the desk as a little bit of extra soundproofing to make the audio sound even better. So the office is full of soundproof panels, and I can record the podcasts using this microphone. And so I'm going to sit down, blast through those podcast episodes, and then I'll catch you afterwards, at which point we'll go through some planning of the goals that I'm setting for the next, say, 3 or 6 months. I got a few different goals. I'm excited about them. I think they're going to involve a lot of work, but also I'm going to learn a lot from going through that process and hopefully make some real progress. So I'll catch you after the podcasts are recorded to go through those goals. Hi, this is Tom, and in this episode, I'm going to be going through hypothyroidism in children. Let's start by talking about congenital hypothyroidism. Congenital hypothyroidism refers to when the hypothyroidism develops before birth. That's it. I finished recording those 3 podcasts. All in all, it took me 45 minutes start to finish to record those 3 podcasts, which isn't too bad at all, which brings the count up to 3 hours and 45 minutes of dedicated, focused, deep work today so far. And the time's now 10 past 11. It's probably a good time for me to have some breakfast or some food. I haven't eaten anything today. And my first meal since I've started following a specific diet, which I've been doing over the last sort of 12 months or so, with really good results, actually. And I'll talk you through the full diet at some point in a future video. But my first meal is broccoli, shiitake mushrooms, cannellini beans, tofu, and some ginger and garlic. And it's delicious. And I'm very much looking forward to it. Bit of a strange diet, but it makes me feel fantastic and really makes me very productive when it comes to work, focusing, exercising, and maintaining a healthy weight. So I'm done with the podcast. The plan now is to have some food, a short break, and then I'm going to look at putting together the goals that I have for the next 3 or 6 months. So we'll sit down together and we'll work out what those goals are and the plan and strategy for executing them. So I'll catch you in a second. So I have finished my breakfast, and the next step is to go through the goals. So this is me basically laying out what the next 3 or 6 months is going to be really focused on. So we'll put up here goals. And really, these are kind of objectives. These aren't particularly smart goals because I'm not measuring anything other than just laying out my work schedule for what I'm going to do. So let's start with my goals for zero to finals. With zero to finals, there's so many different projects that I could be working on. The problem is I've got now 4 kind of big books. I've got medicine, surgery, pediatrics, and obs and gynae. And each one of those needs its own set of flashcards, needs its own podcast, needs its own videos, needs its own questions. So there's really too much for me to tackle all at one time. The next 3 or 6 months, I'm going to be focused on pediatrics. And this is really updating the first edition of the pediatric book. So within pediatrics, I'm going to be working on the book. As a result, I'm going to be creating the podcasts, and the schedule for the podcast is 3 times per week, which means I need to cover at least 3 topics in the book per week, hopefully more, and record 3 podcasts per week. And along with creating those topics and podcast areas, I'm going to be doing the questions as well. So that's that aspect. That's what I'm going to be working on in terms of writing books and things. But also the thing I really want to focus on is the YouTube channel. I recently did some courses in Manchester and Norwich in January, and I was talking to a lot of the people who attended the courses and asking what's the most useful part of Zero to Finals. And the feedback I was getting was that the YouTube channel was particularly useful. People really liked the YouTube channel. So I really need to focus on building the YouTube channel, and I want to make a lot more YouTube videos. So for Zero to Finals, the focus is on minimum three a week of pediatric content, and YouTube videos, ideally 3 times per week. Minimum 1 times per week. I want to put out a YouTube video. Usually on a Wednesday. I should put Wednesday here. And this one is Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for the podcasts. So that's my Zero to Finals goals. Next, let's look at the Tom Watchman YouTube channel. So that's this YouTube channel that you're watching this on. And this is something that I kind of, if you look back, I've stopped and started making videos for this YouTube channel for the last few years, really, and never really got into a good routine and schedule with putting out videos. So that's what this vlog is about. In the past, it's been very kind of curated videos. I've really planned the full script, planned the whole presentation. But I think a more casual vlog style video could be helpful to people, where I take you through what I do on a day-to-day basis, my ideas, what I'm struggling with, how I'm overcoming difficulties in terms of work and getting things done. So that's what this is all about. And this, I hope to make a daily upload. So on a vlog, certain parts of pretty much every day. So vlogging, the workouts that I do, the work, my journeys to and from where I'm working, and just how I'm thinking about producing content and achieving my goals. So that's the daily YouTube video for this Tom Watchman channel. And all of this can take quite a lot of work. So in order to support that work, I need to have a healthy body and mind. Um, I found if I don't exercise, I eat a terrible diet. I'm just tired all the time, and I find it difficult to concentrate, difficult to get stuff done. So, in order to be as healthy as possible, so that I can keep producing as much content as possible and being useful to the world, my plan is to do some health and fitness goals. So there's kind of three aspects to this. One is I want to lose weight. I have been up to 104 kilograms. I'm 6'2", and I've been up to 104 kilograms, which was really quite heavy for me, and I felt terrible. By about midday, I was just worn out, struggled to get up off the sofa and get stuff done. My diet was terrible, and I just felt awful. I then lost quite a lot of weight, maybe. So if I was 104, I went down to 89 kilograms just before Christmas and felt great. Like I was really in tip-top shape and full of energy. Didn't have that kind of afternoon slump. I could just work all day long and be sort of present for my family, get stuff done around the house, keep everybody happy. It was all fantastic. And then over Christmas, New Year's, after the courses that I did in January, and the last 2 weeks when I've been on holiday, I really let things go a bit. So I weighed myself yesterday and I was up to 96 kilograms. But I want to ideally get down to 86 kilograms. So I've got 10 kilos to lose. And I think I could probably lose those 10 kilos over the next 3 or 6 months. Probably 6 months if I'm going to go a bit more cautiously. So how am I going to do this sort of 10 kilo weight reduction? Losing weight is almost entirely about diet. You could run marathons and still gain weight by having a bad diet. The other thing about diet is that really determines how you feel, how much nutrition is in your system, and eating sort of sugary foods or junk foods tends to really give me a slump in energy and makes me much, much less productive. So not only do I want to lose weight with my diet, but also be maximally productive. So having lots of energy, lots of focus, not having that kind of crash that comes with eating junk food. So the plan for this losing weight is to follow this diet. And the diet basically involves eating the same things every day. So I have 3 meals. The first one is kind of vegetables and some tofu, so broccoli, shiitake mushrooms, kale, cannellini beans, and tofu, and some olive oil. I feel great after that. It's absolutely delicious as well. I'll go through these recipes and how I make it at some point in another video. The second meal is kind of a nutty, blendy mix thing with berries. And the third meal is like asparagus, some sardines, sweet potatoes, again, some more kale and avocado. So I'll go through the whole thing at some point, but this diet, very low in sugar, quite low in carbohydrates, moderate protein, lots and lots of vegetables. And when I do this diet, which I've been doing kind of off and on for the last 12, maybe 18 months, felt absolutely fantastic. So the diet is the key to the weight loss. The next goal that I have is to get better at climbing. So I've been climbing for about, I think about 2 years, about 18 months, something like that. Got really into rock climbing, which is not something I've ever been into before. And I found it really kind of therapeutic, a lot of problem solving. It's quite a low intensity exercise other than when you're actually doing the bouldering. And it's really helped with kind of strength, mobility, and I made a bunch of new friends through climbing, which is awesome. So I'm going to be climbing ideally twice a week. So that'll be Sundays and Thursdays. I think climbing less often is fine, but I won't make progress. And climbing more often probably doesn't give me enough time to recover from the previous session. And then the final one is kind of the typical gym stuff. So strength, mobility, and fitness. So in terms of mobility, you kind of saw I have that 5 a.m. routine. So my 5 a.m. routine involves getting up, heading straight to the gym, and then doing lots of stretches, lots of mobility work, and lots of rehab, prehab kind of work on my shoulders. So I've got quite dodgy shoulders. I've had quite a few shoulder dislocations, and they're very prone to subluxing or dislocating. So particularly with climbing, I really want my shoulders to be super strong, super stable, and prevent future dislocations. So I do a lot of shoulder work. I also do a lot of hip work and back mobility stuff in the mornings. And then in terms of strength, I'm going to look at trying to do strength training 3 times a week. Probably on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So I need to figure out exactly how this is going to work. But with the strength training, I've got a weight training program that I kind of sketched out before my holiday. I'm going to put that into practice, and I'll detail that for you in a future video. And in terms of fitness, when I do my strength training, I'm going to add in some cardio. And I haven't figured out exactly what that's going to involve, but probably just some steady state, simple cardio. The problem with going too hard at the gym, I've found, is that if you lift weights too much or do too intense exercise, it makes it very difficult to concentrate and focus on work at other times. So there was a period of my life where I was doing a lot of kind of CrossFit, heavy weightlifting, squats, deadlifts, all that kind of stuff. But the problem was that if I did a really intense workout, felt fantastic, but the next 2-3 days, my brain was quite foggy. Basically, the nervous system had taken a lot of strain. In order to lift, say, a massive amount of weight over and over again and do a really intense exercise, your nervous system has to expend so much energy. And not only do your muscles have to recover, so does your nervous system. So over the next 2-3 days, when I was trying to focus on recording podcasts, writing content, making videos, I just couldn't focus and couldn't be as productive as I'd like to be. So with these fitness goals, my plan is to take it a bit more easy, not push myself as hard because the focus is on um, creating a healthy body and mind so that I can do work. So they're my goals. That's the sort of outline of my goals and my plans over the next 3 to 6 months. I'll bring you along for the ride. Hopefully, it's beneficial for you. I'll share sort of my experiences as we go along. And now, what time is it now? The time is 5 minutes to 12. And at 12, I'm meeting somebody on a Zoom call to just chat about various projects. After that, I'm going to sit down and upload some of those questions that I wrote this morning onto the Zero to Finals members site. After that, I'm going to head home. We said that Wednesday is a workout day, so I'm going to do a workout in my home gym. And after that, I'll edit this video. And the video will go out tomorrow morning. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. Please leave me a comment. I would love to have your questions, your comments, your feedback on this video. And I'll see you in the next video, which will be tomorrow. Take care. See you then.